So today we have something fun and exciting to talk about, and I think it's going to be pretty brief. So we're going to do the webinar a little different today. I'm not going to go through the normal PowerPoint that I go through. We're going to actually introduce you to an updated homepage to the Luggage Doc website, and then also demonstrate a new feature that we're working on. So this feature is something that I would say we have on a few sites as a pilot, and since we have put this feature on several of the sites, we decided that it's worth having a little webinar and showing you what it is, because you may be one of those people that has it. The Luggage Docs website has been updated recently, and this morning we moved some of these blocks around. So you're going to be able to now see that there's not a rotating banner on the Luggage Doc website, and there is not a rotating banner on the Biology IT website, and that's intentional. Those of you that have met with us recently have heard us talk a lot about accessibility and how the rotating banner isn't always accessible. We have spent, actually these two have spent many hours trying to make that rotating banner accessible. And so you'll see that now we have these content cards that are up on the site, and you can see some of the research or projects, that we're doing. So right now we're highlighting the ORTH research group, and you can see their website by clicking on the link. You get to this page. Peter has sent us a nice note about working with Luggage, and so you'll see that some of the features that may be on the site and a site link so that you can visit it. And when you visit the site, it gives you an opportunity to click around and kind of experience the site, and maybe there's something on here that you'd like on your site, and it's just a way for us to demonstrate that. The Soybean Research Lab has been very active in the podcast feature that we have. So if you're looking into maybe wanting to do a podcast, we have ability to help you with that.
It is cold.
It's a good example to check out. And you can see Aaron and Matt. If you haven't listened to this podcast or heard it before, it's actually really great and it's really fun. So I think if you're just thinking about it, that'd be a great place to start. Alrighty. So enough about that. Also, one more thing, I guess. I lied. The Luggage tutorials link is now a little bit more prominent. And so when you click on that link, it's going to take you to the tutorial page, which will help, I think, get you to some of these tutorials that you might need. All right. So next, we're going to talk about content cards. There is a documentation page on this, but like I said, it's in pilot right now. So we have a documentation page if you're one of those people that have it on your site. If you would like to have this put on your site after you learn about it today, please email websupport@iastate.edu, and we'll work with you to determine where this would make sense to be applied to your site. And I'll let Sarah and Angela introduce themselves, because you may or may not have met them before. I know Sarah's joined us in the podcast or the webinars before, but Angela, I think, it's maybe her first one. So welcome, Angela. Angela has been in the background in all of these and has been a developer helping answer your questions, but just not on camera yet. So Sarah, I'll let you talk a little bit about yourself and what you do for the team.
Hi, I'm Sarah Carney. I'm the front-end developer on the team. I work closely with Ann and Angela to develop new features to make Luggage and our theme easier to use. We're always listening to what you want, and we always want to make everything easier for you to use.
Nice. I'm Angela. I also work on feature development, but I do more of the programming side of things. So I'm in the background helping Ann field issues and make new features for you too.
Yeah, so thank you for being here. And these two developers have spent a lot of time and taken a lot of care and thought into trying to make sites easier to edit. And so I'm going to start out by explaining a little bit about why we created content cards, because I think it's important in development to understand those, like that process. So It's been a while that we've been working with Zaira, and as I said at the top, we are trying to get away from rotating banners, and so that drove us to get back to discussing how we can improve the feature and make it more accessible. So we started doing that, and you're going to see that on some of our sites, we started creating these content card components right away as soon as we learned that we wanted to get rid of rotating banners. The only problem was that it was something that we as developers would have to edit for you if you wanted to update them. And we knew that that was a problem, right? That's something we don't want to do. But we also knew that the greater priority there was to make the content accessible, and that was the sacrifice that we made, and we made a conscious choice to do that. And so what happened is we ended up getting a couple people on our team up to speed. We have a student, we have another employee here that is very active in helping edit content in that regard. So we put, those people came into place, but it really was kind of an interim solution. And
we were having to hand code these cards individually, so we wouldn't see a nice interface. We were typing in the HTML and CSS by hand, and that really isn't sustainable in the long run, and it was really impeding our ability to make these quickly.
Right. So that's when Sarah and Angela kind of, put the boots to the ground and started looking at what modules exist, what things are out there that we could use to help with this issue, because other people are having the same problem, right, that have Drupal sites. And so they have researched and discovered the proper modules and things to use, and it's now available. So I'm going to, I think, kind of walk through how to do it. I have a site locally. It's actually the Digital Access website, which makes sense, right? And we'll walk through what it means to have a content card on your site. First of all, content cards will look just like the block did prior to the content card. So if you have a website, for example, that has blocks on it that look like what you're seeing in front of you here with the do-it-yourself, get training and resources, that's what we're talking about. And they will look exactly the same when they are created as a content card as they did prior. So that's a great thing. Your information is not going to change to the outside user or visitor. When you have a content card, you're going to notice that once you're logged in, there's a small gear that will appear in the upper right corner. And if you hover over that image is when you'll see the gear. If you select this gear and say edit block, that's correct, right?
Yeah.
It says edit block. You're going to be taken to something that looks a bit more familiar to you. So here we have a label. And so the label is something that the end user will not see, right? This is like for the back end things.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So
when we place it, it's what it's called, so we know which block we're placing.
Awesome. So when developers like Angela go in to place your initial block, it will help her determine which one to put in the right region. Okay. The title of the block is something that's different, and the title is?
It's what's going to show up on the button or on the label.
So that would be like what we just saw, the do-it-yourself in white with the red background. Right?
It'll probably make sense to keep your label and the title the same, but if you needed to fix a typo or change the wording a little bit, change it in title, because that's what shows.
Cool. And then you can paste in a URL here. And so that's really initially, where would you like the visitor to go if they click on your content card? So if they click on the image or the text, where should they be taken to? And that's where you put in the URL. And here is where you upload an image, and it should look very familiar to most of you if you've been content editing before, and you could remove the image and upload a new one. So the great thing about these content cards is that you can change them yourself then, right? So you don't have to contact us. So if you have 3 content cards and you decide that there's been the same 3 up for a while and you want to change a couple of them out, that's something that you can go in and do. So you could go in, change the title, change the text, upload a new image. And so to do that, you would remove the current image, you'd choose a file and upload a new image and put it in to this spot, right? So I don't know why it's doing this for me, but it is.
If you're demoing it, it will break.
That's right. So you'll see the image. One thing to know is that when you see like this text here, .jpeg, your format file name, and it's red, like that's going to show you that yes, the image was uploaded to the server. If you see a picture of the image, which will happen, but like I said, we're in pilot, then you also know that it's been uploaded to the server. So those are 2 ways you can find out. So even though I can't see the preview of this thing right now, I know that it's on the server. When you're doing the content cards, it's going to really be up to you as far as the size. So if we will provide in the documentation maybe some suggestions for like size, but you'll want to make sure that if you have 3 in a row, they're all the same size of image. If they're not, you might have some really long image, right?
Yeah.
and they're not going to automatically resize to be a certain, like cropped a certain way or anything. They're going to be proportionally sized down.
We didn't want to force you into a single size because maybe for your use case you wanted something a little bit shorter, and maybe in another use case someone might want theirs more square. So we didn't want to pen anybody in. So that just means that content editors just need to be consistent about what you want.
Right. And if you'd like to meet with me or schedule a meeting with us at the BIT team to kind of talk about this initially and some of your options, we're happy to do that to get you rolling. So alternate text then is, obviously we need to do that, and that's important for accessibility. So be sure to have alternate text added here, and I can put my text. You can put title text if you want. In this case, like on our sites, essentially it's a tooltip, so kind of a hover, but we know that on mobile hovers are kind of difficult to navigate and to see, and so it's really just a bonus if you put a title in here.
And just remember that this title, I'm pointing at the screen, but it doesn't matter. You have the title that's right under image, and that's used for the tooltip, but that is different than your title for your card.
Yes. Yes. And so, as we go through this pilot, it may be something where we just remove the title from showing up, right? And so that'll be something that we can determine and kind of see how it goes as you use it. Next, we have something kind of fun. So I'll let Sarah and Angela talk about this.
I should do it.
Yeah. Okay. So we have a big list of font awesome icons, and if you don't know, font awesome is basically an accessible font that lets you pick out little pictures to put into text. And we also made like a little preview, so you can select which icon you think you want.
Ooh,
and then
I didn't even see there was a preview, so I'm excited.
Yeah, you'll be able to check it out and make sure that that's actually what you want.
Neat.
So, and if you see something, like if you know that there's a font awesome icon that you really, really want, then you just have to let us know and we'll add it to your site.
Yeah. And yeah.
Yeah. And then here you can also pick your label color. So we've tested all of these label colors to make sure that they match color contrast specs. So all of these label colors should be accessible. Yeah.
Cool. So you'll be able then to know that your background color of the text will be in compliance with the color contrast.
I'll show them the doc page and they can see all the examples.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
Scrolling.
Ah, there we go. So there's the examples of all the different labels and what they'll look like. So when you choose one of them, you know what it is that you're selecting.
Mm-hmm. And we also have overlays, which are a bit different. So if you want to have like the dark gray text on top of your image, then you can do that too.
Nice.
So,
I don't know if we want to save. It'll probably be some giant. Maybe not. Hey, not bad. So it's you can tell that it's actually a little bit different in size, but it's essentially pretty good. But yeah, just make sure that when you go to do these blocks, like I said, this is on my local machine. This is not on the live site, so that's something.
So here's an example of that overlay. It probably looks a little bit better with the lighter picture, and you can see that it sort of obscures part of the image, but that's a cool option.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here's a cool thing I really like. Is sometimes we just want a button, like we have right here on, our luggage doc page. We just want a button. We don't need an image to make this apparent. And so all you have to do is not add an image. So we'll test on this one. If I just remove my image for Get Training, I'm going to expect to see just that button. I remove the image and I save, and it should be super cute. Yeah, awesome. Super cute.
Yeah. So that is also a great thing. So that if you've got, a place that you want to put just a little, it's nice. I think in the documentation they call them hints, and that's great. There's been several websites that we've worked on lately where people want these little buttons with the icons and want to be able to place them on a page at the bottom of their content or the top of their content. And so this is a way to do that. And we can help you with that as well. I think that's really pretty much it. Are there any questions that those of you here on the webinar today have in regards to this new capability? Is there anybody that really is excited about this and would like it on their site? Again, please email websupport@isd.edu. And that would be this email. So if you can email us there, we'll be able to get you in the queue and get this on your site. So it says, can you have multiple buttons in the same content card?
We can set up multiple content cards in the same area, and then you would have access to edit them individually. Does that answer your question?
Perfect. Good. Yep. And in fact, I just did that this morning when we were looking at the Luggage Docs website. That's what is happening here. So essentially we have this inside of the same region as the About Luggage information. And we're currently working on additional items for this too.
Are content cards only available on the home page? How do I insert them in other places like a page or a menu?
So great question. Yes, you can have them in other places and not just the home page. So we initially will add them for you, and then after that you can change them out however you would like. So we can have a conversation about it. I really like to be able to sit down and have that conversation to make sure that we're talking a little bit about content strategy and what the best options are and how we can help you find that solution and then be able to edit from there on out. So the answer is yes, and we would place them initially for you, and then you can edit after that. I have a question about these content card options on a specific site, but she'll send it to me. That's great. Thank you. That's what we're hoping for. We really want people to think about this for your own sites and how it can be added. So on the new sites that we're building and standing up, when we add pages or a home page specifically kind of like this, they will be set up as content cards, I think, from here on out, because it really makes it easier for everyone.
Oh, so much easier.
So
And the way that we have it set up now, it's going to make it easier for us to maybe add new styles, add new colors, add new icons, and that way we can make those options available immediately to everybody who has content cards installed. So as developers, we're really excited about that.
Yeah. Yep. And there are some things to think about with content cards. It's pretty easy to be like, oh, I want them everywhere. But there's a couple things to think about. First of all, content cards are really taking place of the announcement, right? And so it's really announcing in a glorified kind of almost button to people, check out this page on my website, right? If you create these content cards with actual content in them and it doesn't exist anywhere else, that could be a problem, because at that point it may be hard because that block itself, that little card itself, is not going to be searchable. So and that's okay, because we don't necessarily need every tiny thing searchable, because like the title, for example, like in this one, the Soybean Research Lab, this is totally searchable on your site, and you want people to land on this page if they did a search in Google. So that's what you want. And that's what we want. We don't want people to land on a piece of content that's only this block, right? So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about what to change and what to make these content cards. And we will help you certainly along that journey. So, all right. I think with that, we will call it good. I know I mentioned it'd be short and sweet, and it pretty much is. So thank you very much to Sarah and Angela for joining the webinar today.